Hello, welcome to With Respect, the show where we talk about stuff in martial arts that people wouldn't normally speak about for fear of being deemed disrespectful. I've got a guest with me who we're going to call Kick today because he wants to remain a degree of privacy. So, hi, Kick. Do you want to introduce yourself a bit?
Hi there. Yeah, I'm a guy who's been doing martial arts for years now, and it's a situation of martial arts has helped me out of situations and has sort of got me in them as well. It's less to do with stories in a school or on a mat, and more about how it's helped me in the day-to-day life or on a night out.
Okay, so since you have done martial arts for a while, can you describe your history with it? Like, what arts do you train in? How long have you been doing it? Have you gone amongst different clubs? Do you train at home? That sort of stuff?
I do self-training at home, but it's been so long since I actually did martial arts due to, adulting, that I wouldn't really class myself as a martial artist anymore. But a lot of the time, if situations look up, where, especially on a night out, someone will try it on or think that they're, too big for their britches, if that makes sense. And I put them in place.
You put them in their place.
A situation recently happened you might be aware of.
Care to elaborate?
So we went out for drinks. Someone was trying it on with friends. They didn't want any of it, including inappropriate touching and just making it awkward. And another friend of mine who did martial arts was kind of looking forward to them getting to them. But before they did, I sort of intervened.
You are allowed to say if you're talking about me,
Okay, that's fine. I didn't know. Yeah, we went out for drinks, and this guy was having it on with yourself and the young lady we were with. And he just wouldn't say no for an answer. And so I sort of stepped between, and he thought he'd try and pretend to be chummy, put his arm around me, and immediately I wasn't like, it doesn't feel right. And he put me in a headlock. I immediately got out of it and pushed him away, and he fell over because he was drunk.
It was so funny.
He was ready to throw hands. And you saw that as well.
Yeah, so this is a unique one because normally when I have guests, they're just telling me about stuff that happened in their life, but because we're actually friends, we can do dual perspectives on this one. And just for the audience, I am messing with physio putty right now, so if you're curious what I'm fidgeting with, it's for my hand. But yeah, so it's not that I was looking forward to a complete kickoff. It's just that every single time I go on a night out, it's not that I want to be hit on, but of my friends, it seems like I get the least aggressive, inappropriate behavior. And I've been told that it's because I exude this aura of don't fuck with me, which I'm pretty sure is because I have my entire life is martial arts and I'm quite a confident person. So when we're next to not shy, because our friends definitely aren't shy, but people who seem more compliant maybe, and less likely to challenge them on what's going on. I feel like that's why I sort of get left out of it, but then that leaves me with less opportunities to notice the inappropriate behavior, and therefore I can't defend my friends. And then the one time it was actually targeted at me, then you stole my thunder.
Yeah, I don't know. Being one of the ones of our friend group, it was one of the situations where I don't know, I've always been told on nights out, I'm the dad of the group. I'm okay, everyone alright. Oh, no, they're not feeling great, let's take them home, let's have a cab, things like that. But in this situation, it wasn't just yourself, it was someone else in our friend group that was I don't feel comfortable with this.
And I was totally oblivious at the time.
Yeah. And it was just one of them. So anyway, once he got back up and started getting ready to throw hands, I immediately, while got in a stance, also had my hands open in a calming gesture. And you picked up on that very quickly.
Yeah, I'll show people because you're off screen. So basically this is a guarding stance where you have one hand kind of up by your head and one hand kind of covering your body, and then obviously you don't want it to be obvious that that's what you're doing because then you look like the aggressor. When you're in a club environment, no one can hear what's being said, it's very mimey. But if you just open your hands, then it's sort of halfway between a whoa guy, calm down while you do it, but actually you're ready. And I could tell that's what you're trying, but I don't know if he could.
Yeah, but basically, I just also pointed to the door and said, and screamed because we were in a club, get out. No, don't do this. Basically, just trying to convey, you don't want none of this.
And it was weird because, like you said, he like tried to be buddy at first, and the thing that I noticed that was kind of weird was like he did like the we're half hugging, you know, like bros do like the one arm hug because you know it's gay if it's two armed, but then like he sort of half turned into a headlock, and I was like, what's happening? And I think he thought you were my boyfriend at one point.
Maybe not. But all I know is that the moment he put me in a headlock, it was tight enough that I could feel the pressure on the side of my neck. Like, you know, where I forget what it's called. I forget the name of the arteries, but when you put pressure on
Carotids.
and immediately, like, my alarm went off of like, nope. If this guy knows something, like a martial art or he's wrestling or something, I don't want to be in this situation.
Yeah, because everyone's always like, oh, it's just some average Joe on the street, but I was just an average Joe until something happens.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I don't want to be, you know, maybe he's the next John Wick, but he's had too many drinks, who knows? But the point is I just didn't want to be in that situation. So I just threw myself out of it and de-escalated the situation by escalating my aggression, which sounds very philosophical, but what I mean is I extruded this energy of like, no, I'm ready to throw hands.
Well, people who victimize others sort of have this weird power like complex where they think like, oh, I'm the biggest guy in the room, I'm gonna kill you. But then the second they hit any kind of opposition, they're like, oh, not a victim, not worth it.
Yeah, and that's the sort of most recent version of that I can think of. And I thought it'd be funny to bring up because you were there at the time as well.
I do genuinely. It's the fact that he fell over, and obviously other people notice when someone falls over, even if they hadn't noticed anything that had gone on before. But I don't think the bouncers saw a single fit. Like, this is our favorite like club venue that we go to in Manchester, and like I feel like it's not bad to say at Satan's because like Satan's is a well-known venue. Like every single time I've gone, I've never seen the bouncers get involved with anything unless it was like active drug trade spotted or you have to go and grab them and tell them there was an incident. I've never seen them intervene with an incident. They more intervene with the mosh pits.
Yeah, I've seen them do it a few times, and they did get involved this time. So when I'm, you know, doing the shouty throw, like get to the point into the door, and the initial pushing, they are looking over in our direction, and they can see what's going on, and they just feel like, no, they got it.
They got it. Those guys got this.
Yeah, basically, I think they saw what was going on, had a quick look. There was two of them, and I did see them behind near a cage at the back, and one in the bar. And they were looking over, and they saw me in what I was doing. And because I wasn't just throwing hands on the guy I just thrown on the ground, I think they were like, all right, he's not looking at the fight, he's probably just handing himself, whatever. I went to look for other more serious trouble.
I didn't notice any of that at all. It could have been that I was less spatially aware because we were drinking, but also I'm just so short-sighted.
Well, the thing is, I don't drink, so it was one of those situations where I was fully sober.
And when you're like the sober one on a night out, it's so weird because when you're drinking, like I don't know, like if you were a drinker previously, I actually have no idea. But like you have the weird sort of fuzz around everything you're doing, like you've got a bit of a curtain over you, so you're like you can feel the dull of the senses, but you still feel like you're there. But like when you're the sober one in the room, it's like everything is so much louder and everything's so much like harsher, and it's like seeing the people around you, they're in slow motion. It's like weird.
No, I understand. No, I used to drink, and I am actually a very heavy drinker. I always drink really well. I just don't drink anymore because it gets expensive.
Oh no, that's totally a vibe. I can't remember the last time I like paid for my own night out.
Buying you drinks.
You have to.
No, it's just because I've worked most of my life. I have quite a bit saved up in situations like this where most of our friend group will say things like, "Oh, I'm on a budget." I'm like, "Oh, I'll get the first, second, maybe third round." Then it's just
I don't. No, I don't want to say it's like an act of charity because it doesn't come across that way at all. It's just like you want everyone to have fun, so it's nice. But that was an instance where I was there. So, what's the situation where you've had to use your recall your martial arts knowledge when I wasn't there, and tell me something that I don't know about you?
So one of my first jobs was working at McDonald's, and it was around the time I started learning martial arts. And one of the new temps that worked He only worked there for 3 months. Also went to the same jiu-jitsu class that I did, and he seemed like a guy who tried new things but didn't stick around. But he was also a bit of a braggart, I think is the best way to put it. He liked to talk. He gossiped.
Mhm.
Anyway, I didn't mention to the people that I worked with that I did martial arts because I didn't think it was a massive deal.
Yeah, because it's just part of your life.
Yeah, it's just something I'm doing. It's a new hobby I'm trying. I've jumped from one hobby to the next all my life. Martial arts is probably one of the ones that I took the most seriously. But I mean, I've done gymnastics for 6 years and like trampolining for 2, ice skating for like 3. All these
I
different
love
things.
ice skating.
Because ADHD, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Into next. But with this situation, he told everyone in the that we worked with, and a lot of the older guys, tall guys, bigger guys, went, "Oh, okay, so you think you're better than me?" It's like, no, how do you even know? Oh, David told us.
Mhm.
David, God damn it. Anyway, so one day I'm putting away chicken nuggets,
Nugs.
freezer, and it's become a bit of a habit of everyone to like, get like a McDonald's tray and hit me over the head with it. Not hard, but like tap. I'm like,
Fun.
I thought you were trained in martial arts. Take in the piss.
Oh, I can't stand people who do that. It's like, oh, you gotta always be aware. You know you're going down. It's like, shut up. This is like I'm being paid right now. Can we just focus on the task at hand?
It was situations like that where they'd back me in the back. It's like, oh, do you not think you should have protected that? I'm like, I knew you were in the room, but you're also my manager. I wasn't expecting you to hit me on the head.
And I also know that, like, that if you want to be violent to me in the workplace, I'll take the lawsuit. I will take that money. But, like, it's not people. You said that he was like, oh, you think you're better than me? No, it's they feel inferior to you because they know that you have a skill that they haven't committed time to, that they couldn't replicate right now if they had to, and they just want to make themselves feel superior. So that's like a self-confidence issue on their part.
Yeah. But anyway, this guy who kept doing this thing of like coming up behind me or deliberately finding my blind spot, and what did he do one day? He had it was like a frozen McDonald's apple pie, pretending it was a knife, and in my complete blind spot, while I'm talking to a customer, comes up behind me and jabs me in the what would be the liver.
A customer.
I'm like, oh, you're dead. And I'm like, what? It's like, yeah, you better be trained. I'm like, okay. Anyway, so he does it again while I'm unloading these chicken nuggets. And I haven't slept the night before because I've been up all night gaming.
Of course.
I did that. So I'm half asleep. So he jumps at me, and as I do that, I turn and spot him. And without even really meaning to, something we'd learned at jiu-jitsu very recently, I think it was like the night or two before, was if someone jumps at you, put your hand over your head. So, when you see anime characters or cartoon characters interlock their hands behind their head,
Yeah.
and their fingers behind their head, and then
Yeah.
arms out.
Yeah.
So imagine that, but over your head, so like a guard. So your elbows are pointing out in front of
Your elbows are pointing out in front of you. Where are your palms facing while they're connected?
on the side of your head at your temples. So like fists closed.
Okay. Oh no, I get you. Like sort of tucking your head, but without bending.
Normal boxing stance or a normal fighting pose, but
I call it the blind guard because I can never see shit when I bring my hands so close.
yeah. But the point is, if someone is jumping at you, like they're trying to get on top of you or whatever, do that and hope for the elbows will, I say hopefully. It's a situation of like if they're jumping at you, you'll get them in the ribs or the solar plexus, diaphragm, all these different things that hopefully should knock the wind out of them. But if not, at least you're guarded from whatever. Anyway, so they jumped at me to try and jump me, make me jump, whatever. But I turned in that situation and it got him in the diaphragm.
Love that.
He just collapsed on the floor like in this like I can't breathe sort of tone.
Oh, you got him right on the like the exhale.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, What's this guy's name? Let's go on James. James, I'm so sorry because again, this guy's my manager.
Oh my god.
He's like, no, it's fine. Like,
You proved your point. I love that. Let me guess. They never did it again. Because like it was when I was in school. I did martial arts ever since primary school, and then when I was in high school, people like knew it was a thing I did. But because I don't get into fights, like I'm not one of those people who just has a scrap in the playground. Then everyone always took the piss because I was like a massive swat as well, and like the smart girl can't be athletic too. No way. So but because we had a PE on a rota, so every term we would be in groups, and our group would have one sport for the term, and then you'd rotate out so you knew what facility you were like using that day. And they had a karate rotation in my group. So obviously I don't do karate, I do taekwondo, but there's cross applicable things. And the instructor was like, has anyone got experience with martial arts? Everyone turns to look at me. I was the helper for the whole term. And it wasn't until we got to the demonstrating sparring that suddenly no one ever mentioned anything again. And I felt so powerful when I was like the flip dummy, for takedowns. Oh, it was great. And like I would already be doing stuff, like I would like guard my head against the floor or something. They'd be like, look, she's already doing it. And I'm like, yeah, I don't need to be told.
She's doing it.
And like I don't know if anyone else noticed that, but I saw an immediate change in behavior for like, oh, Deb is actually is a ninja.
Yeah. For me, in school that was boxing and rugby.
Oh yeah.
So I played rugby for my town, and I didn't tell anyone. I was on the second team. The only reason I was on the first team is because I wasn't old enough to be a professional. Anyway, so it comes to rugby, and they're like, all right, of course I get picked last because I'm not one of the popular kids. And then they all just run at me, and I just run at them, and they hang on to me, and I keep running towards the try line and put the ball down.
I don't know what a try line is.
What's that?
I don't know what a try line is.
It's have you ever seen rugby?
Kinda.
So you know how they run at one end of the pitch?
Yeah, to get it to the big posts.
Yeah, the line that you cross is the try line. You
okay.
Put the ball past that, you score.
Okay. Go on, tell your story.
That was it. It was basically just they kept running at me and holding on to me, trying to pull me to the ground, and I just kept walking.
Well, it's a pretty violent sport, isn't it? And like, I have a question because like you do jiu-jitsu, and that's very grapply groundworky. Do you have like standing work?
Yeah, there's plenty of standing work. So the grapple is combined with strikes. At least this is in my school. There are many different schools with many different grapples and different techniques. As I'm sure you and most listeners would be aware. But mine was very much a strike in combination with grapple. So a basic hip throw would be done, and then once they're on the ground, you don't let go of the arm. You step over them. And as you step over, you kick, either as a stomp or a kick, to make sure they stay down, and then twist the arm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying break the arm, although that is doable, but the point of that is that they stay on the ground while you've got hold of the arm, and if there's someone else coming at you, you've got one hand on their arm, or their wrist, depending on where your hand is located. You've got a leg around their arm, just twisted, so they're in an arm bar, essentially. And either they're unconscious from the kick or the throw, or they're restrained, and you've got a free leg and a free arm to block anyone else coming.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, if it's just the one guy, he's out. There you go. Sorry.
When we practice takedown stuff, we just always go for the killer blow, like break the arm, gouge the eye, kick him in the crotch.
It is one of those where my school was very much based on it wasn't a sport. I mean, it was a sport, but it was mostly for defense. It was under the assumption that one of the first things we were taught is if you're being held up at knife point, first thing is comply. Like, unless you've got something you really can't let them go, like a kid or a family member or something, just give them the wallet because you can get that back.
Well, yeah, like self-defense isn't about beat up the enemy, it's about protect yourself. And if the easiest way to protect yourself is to hand over your phone, then great.
Yeah, I remember my sensei literally had a dummy wallet. It was just his wallet. He said, okay, so the first thing, and he gave me a rubber knife. I said, right, hold me up. Okay, so I put the knife and I was like, give me your money. He grabbed his wallet, threw it, and ran the other way. I was like,
good.
Yeah. Because I instinctively followed the wallet and he went behind. So he could have just clocked me in the back of the head. You know? But
I mean, he got you. He completely wrecked you.
Yeah. That was like lesson one. The second thing he taught me was, in that same lesson, was if someone has a knife and you do need to defend yourself, like they're coming for you, not your stuff, then a slash is better than a stab. 4 inches on the 4 inches of penetration on the torso is enough to be fatal, depending on where it is. You know, the chest, the stomach, anywhere around there, because that's where your organs are. Of course, the neck. So a slash is better than a stab.
I've never heard this rationale.
I mean, how deep can it get? I mean, it obviously can be deep, but that's more survivable than a stab. What my sensei was teaching me was, like, for example, you know, if you're blocking a knife with an arm, or so and so forth, like deflect it, because a slash is easier to heal and less serious than a stab. It's not. I'm not saying it's going to be like a paper cut, but you're more likely to get away.
Oh, I just had this horrible mental image of like seppuku though, like disemboweling. If you're really unlucky.
I mean, literally, to start seppuku, you have to stab first. So.
Okay, yeah, sure, okay.
Stab in to almost its spine. We're getting derailed, but then you cut. But yeah, that's the big person.
We don't want to get censored on this. We're like, I'm not monetized by any means, but you know, whatever, just in case. We are self-defense, like pseudo professionals. I'm qualified. He's got a belt somewhere.
I taught for a while. I helped teach with my sensei, which sort of leads me on to the next thing. Parents, if you're listening, if your kid or you have a kid that wants to start martial arts, listen to the instructor. All right.
Yes.
The reason they're the one teaching. So if I hand you a form, a non-disclosure, not non-disclosure form, what do you call it?
Liability.
That's the one. Thank you. Form saying, listen, your kid does not have to take part in this class, but if they do, they have to listen, and I mean listen. So nunchuck training, cool. Let's go. You've all signed it. Kids and parents, right, let's go. Parents, you're happy to stay and watch. And then, of course, the kid doesn't listen, and I'm saying, right, don't swing this in any way that I don't show you. Don't mess with it. Don't play. Like, I am showing you this. Do it exactly as I show you. Of course, the kid who doesn't listen, never listens. Starts spinning it around like it's a Beyblade, messing with it. And, of course, cracked himself in the face.
Oh no!
So, you know, I'm talking to the class and Damien, stop, please. It's like, okay. And you stop and I turn to another person that I'm giving one-to-one instruction with. And then it was like, I could hear the metal, was it plastic? Well, whatever. The chain jingling. I'm like, Damien.
Acrylic?
Stop. And I could see the mum, like, getting agitated behind him, like, don't talk to my son that way. And he went, okay. So he does it again. And he's going at real speed this time. And in this situation, unfortunately, we have a certain amount of nunchucks and more kids than we were expecting. So he's got some of the wooden ones. Like, it's not just a plastic tube with foam around it.
My bow staffs are wooden, and I bonked myself. Good lord! Training stops the instant you do.
So a lot of the younger kids, because it was a sort of taste session, because these kids were about to transition from one belt to the next, and to continue, they would have to get train with a few weapons. So bow staff, nunchuck, etc. So we're having a sort of like a taster session on what it would be like going forward. And the parents were there, like I said, to see what it was like, so they can decide if they want to continue.
Mm-hmm.
Or basically, this is what's going to be going forward. Are you okay with this?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Damien doesn't listen, and we had more kids than we had nunchucks. So he has the wooden ones, and he spins it around. I just give up telling him. And of course, the moment I don't tell him, I just hear crack. And I don't know if yourself or any of the listeners have heard a nose break.
I've not, but I know someone who has.
Yeah, it's a resounding sound. It sounds like someone's just hit a hollow coconut.
Ugh.
Describe it.
And it must be worse for him because, like, it's an internal sound. But, like, nunchucks are famous for being the most self-injurable weapon.
Yeah. So, crack. I spin my head round, and they're like the last time I saw this kid, he was smiling, he was fine. I look back, his hands are by his side, the nunchucks are on the floor, and he's just pouring out of his nose, and I can see the look on his mother's face behind him, and I'm like, I'm in trouble. And he just stands there, and there's just blood, and then it suddenly it was like, what?
But, like, there's a degree of, it's not like you're a teacher in a school where, like, you're accountable to anyone in that sense, because, like, you're not the instructor, you're, like, the assistant instructor, you said. It's not necessarily your club. They got them to sign the form, which is their official warning. You verbally warned. There becomes a point where it's Darwinism, and...
that's the thing, but of course the mother runs down from the viewing stadium, and I say stadium, it was literally a few chairs.
Yeah.
Runs over to her son. He's like, Damien, oh my God, I'm going to sue you. And turns to me, and I'm like, first off, I told him.
That is the consequence of your own actions.
Yeah, I literally pointed to myself and said, first of all, I'm the trainee instructor. Second, I told him. Third, he's your guy. And the sensei's just looking with a bit of a smirk.
He knows that he don't need to worry about a thing.
Yeah, and she was like, I'm gonna sue him. And he said, did you read the contract you signed?
Yeah, because the dad saw this. What did the dad do?
Obviously he was concerned, but it looked like he was like, I mean, he did say stop.
The one with the logical brain.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. He wanted his kid to learn through experience.
Yeah. Now, Damien, you're going to have to listen to your betters, or else what, Dad? What? Then she points to his nose.
Did Damien come back?
He did, but we didn't allow him to, he wanted to continue learning, advancing through the belts. We didn't let him. He kept on with the basics, and he didn't stick around for much longer because he got bored.
Oh God! Well, you gotta earn a bit of trust after that.
I don't know. It was one of them where it's like I say, you hear it quite often in martial arts about discipline, and
it's true.
How to sort out situations or prepare for situations, and Damien clearly wasn't prepared to learn discipline, so...
You can't be prepared for being a dumb fuck. How old was the child? Before I go too hard, how old was the child?
I don't know exactly, but maybe just preteen,
Oh no, 12... No, that's old enough. You stop being a moron at that point.
Yeah. Well, I know he wasn't a teenager, because at 13 you move up to the advanced class. So we had our classes had kids. You went white belt with a black stripe. Red belt? Yeah, red belt. Oh, no, sorry, a white belt with a red stripe, then red belt, and so on and so forth. So it's like the next belt and a half, 1.2. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know a lot about jiu-jitsu, but this sounds like one of those where the club made up their own areas as well. It was
basically to give kids...
It's like how sometimes we have an orange belt, which doesn't exist in Taekwondo, but they have the tiny tigers, because you want a pre-6-year-old class.
Yeah, it was basically... So, do you remember how I said like to continue, you had to learn with a weapon.
Mm.
It was like that. To get the full belt, you had to do the full training quota, which later on included reading books. And our sensei would give you a bonsai tree when you got to like brown belt.
A bonsai?
After it for half a year.
This feels like a very unique thing. This is not part of any curriculum.
He was eccentric. One day he said, "I've seen something I would like to try. Let's all walk around like animals." And he had us walk around the map as a gorilla.
I feel like I'd vibe with this guy. Can we get him on the show?
Oh yeah, no, he was a legend. But you've seen gorillas move, like in Tarzan or in documentaries.
Knuckles.
Yeah, like Knuckles, hunched over, like going on all four. It works out muscles you didn't think you had.
Okay. Tempted to test it.
I'd give it a go, honestly. Like, I wouldn't say do it in the street. People might actually lock you up. But, yeah. Like, watch a video on how a gorilla moves and then imitate it.
I mean, I'd probably intimidate someone with it. But
maybe someone runs away. That person's crazy.
I mean, for Manchester City Centre, it wouldn't exactly be dramatic.
No. But usually people in Manchester City Central is swaying from side to side like a zombie, not like an animal. Well, actually.
Both and neither at the same time. At this point, I'm definitely not doing intended physio exercises with this putty. I'm just playing with it. Where are you? You said that you weren't at home. Where are you right now?
I wasn't at home. I was doing some bits and bobs, but including B&Q. But I've come home and I've got a new screwdriver set, so I'm just getting ready. After this, I'll be putting up some bits and pieces around the house.
Day to do like some weapons training with your screwdrivers.
No, I no longer have my knife collection near my desk because when chatting with friends in situations like this, I would be fiddling with them and then sort of like, "Oh shit, are you okay?" And I go, "Yeah, I need to be right back." And they're like, "Why?" And I nick myself in there.
There is blood everywhere.
Not everywhere.
Yeah, but anything like can become a weapon. Like it's very, especially the Okinawan type arts. Like unless you were responding to a bow staff, like every weapon was made in a way to respond to a bow staff by default, but they all became weapons because it's just what people had available to them. Like kamas is like, a sickle axe that people farmed with. There's oar training, like a paddle. Like people have specialized forms for their oars because that's just what they had, so that's what became their defense choice.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, when you start thinking like that, you can argue anything like that. But the argument becomes, how do you get to someone like a spoon? How do you use a spoon as a weapon? Go for the axe.
Gouge, soft bits. I'm thinking of like this putty right now, and my goal would be to like shove it down their throat. Could also be a kink, but we won't go that way.
I'm just imagining you like you do that and then choking and like with some one liner and like I don't know, chew your food properly, and then they're like.
People joke about men like always thinking, how could I defend myself if something happened right now? That's me. Like when I was at public gyms, because I train at home now because I have my home gym, but when I was like in public gyms by default, I'd be there on the cross trainer for like a last end of session calorie burn after all my lifting, and I'd be like, could I do a back kick if someone slapped my ass right now? Because I'm moving, but I'm pretty stable. I would probably hold the handles, but I feel like I could do it. And like no one thinks about that.
Well, I've got two thoughts on that. One, it depends on which leg you kick with and on which motion swing you have. So like if you're pushing with a cross trainer with your right hand and kick with your left kick, you've got a bit of extra momentum, that guy.
It would have to really be in the moment reactive because that's like a split second decision. Yeah. But I train both sides equally. I don't believe in the pick your favorite and get good at that, because what if you get injured? What if they're really good at that opposing side? And
yeah, that's true.
Just why would you make yourself lopsided?
You wouldn't mind if someone slapped your ass.
I mean, a stranger, I wouldn't invite it in the gym.
You wouldn't immediately kick them, is what I'm saying.
I mean, depends. It depends.
They're pretty good looking. Yeah, I'll get away with that.
The demographics of the gyms I've attended was my first ever proper like gym membership was like the old folks home basically because it's attached to our local leisure centre, and I'm not even joking, there were 3 occasions I found Werther's wrappers just in the equipment, and and then the one after that was the gym in Bolton, which it's fine, it's like your default 24-hour go in, do what you want, no one's gonna really tell you off. But also people like steal stuff and it's so chavvy, and like you can tell that all these super hench muscular dudes who look like they should be about your age, they talk to you and they start talking like they've just turned 18. It's like, ugh. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't love it.
Harder and harder. Like maybe just because I'm getting old, but it's getting harder and harder to differentiate age groups. I spoke to a co-worker who I could have sworn shouldn't have been old enough to work. And she said, "Oh no, I'm this age," and I went, what?"
Well, no one can tell that I'm like 26, almost 27. Apparently, I've got a massive baby face.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone can see that. That is actually an interesting point. Is I have definitely had some people like be inappropriate with me at the gym. Not inappropriate like creepy, but like, I'm here to work out, not make friends. Like, if someone needs some equipment I'm using and they want to, like, alternate or something, I don't like working in with people personally, but if they want to, I'm not going to say, no, it's my machine. But, like, they'll start, like, hitting on me, and then they start asking, like, oh, what are you training for? Because that's, like, a really easy segue. And then I'll go, oh, well, I'm training just for strength and for my general well-being because I have, like, chronic conditions that it helps me manage and I enjoy weightlifting. But also, it helps with my taekwondo, and they go, ooh, don't want to get on your bad side then. And it's like, why? I'm not going to be your dommy mommy. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I don't have that problem. I don't. People don't talk to me generally. They take a look at me and go, who knows? You know, get the name of the French church, but yeah.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, that's the one, yeah.
I mean, definitely I wouldn't go that far as to make a Quasimodo comparison, but like, I feel like I am very confident in my self-image, so I can't be like, oh, I'm shocked you're speaking to me. But I am shocked at the frequency of I can't leave the house without someone addressing me, no matter how big I have headphones.
These headphones, they're a big warning sign for you to beep off.
Literally, you get people. I go for it. I've been doing it this whole time. But like, you literally get people miming like, take off the headset, take it. Like, you can't see what I'm doing right now, but like the camera, they're like miming, hey, pointing at their ear, and it's like, no. No, I will not remove them. No, go away. I gain nothing from this experience. Either you want money from me or you're going to waste my time.
I think the funniest, like, once someone wanted to take off my headphones and I pretended to be deaf. And they said, you were just listening to music. And I went, how did you become deaf? That was like the entirety of that interaction. And it wasn't like someone being nice. Well, it probably was, but they had a clipboard. And I don't want to talk to people with clipboards.
Yeah, no. The one time I actually acknowledged someone with a clipboard, I did the whole survey, and then they remembered at the end to check my age, and then they realised that I was under 18 and I couldn't do it. That's actually, say I've got a baby face and people don't know how old I am. It was until I turned 18, people thought I was 18. Then I was 18 for a bit, and people were like, basically spot on. But then I aged up, and then apparently I didn't visually. So I just froze in time for at least a decade, possibly more. And like, some of me goes, was it paedophilia? Might have been paedophilia. But also, genuinely, I do believe, like, looking at photos, I know that I look younger than I look now, but I feel like I didn't look my age, so...
It's called weird.
No, but like, we're talking about like in ways of self-defense. Like, for example, that happened one time where I was like approached in the park and they like thought I was older, and they started trying to like talk to me about martial arts because they recognized the patterns I was doing, and I was trying to teach my friends because, you know, you tell your friends that sort of stuff. And then he realized how old I was because like, how do you guys all know each other? And it's like, oh, we go to school together. Oh, what school? Told him a primary school. And then he was like, oh, okay, bye. So that was weird.
Maybe you've always just looked like, from the day one, you just made look 18.
I stay this way. This is how I am. I'm like in the Rising of Shield hero with like the half humans, the demi humans like Raftalia. Like she's the Tanuki one. Everyone like.
I actually don't know the situation with that. Like, I thought.
So in this universe, demi-humans, they have their like child form, and their age is not their age, it's their level. And then when they hit an adult level, they become their adult form. And I get the impression that they don't age beyond that point, really, unless they have like Sims, like they have child, adult, and old. And I feel like that's me.
I'll be honest, I didn't make it very far in that sentence because I was confused by that. It was like, oh, she's adorable. What the hell happened?
I do like Rising of Shield Hero, but it's a bit harem-y at this point. Like, I like Sword Art Online, but it's just collect the babes, isn't it?
I don't know.
It is a little bit.
Despite letting you have access to it, I confused it myself for quite a while.
Oh, honestly, that Crunchyroll is my life. If you ever need me to like pay something for it, tell me.
I keep adding things to the watch list and then never getting around to watch them.
Fair. Okay, I feel like we are starting to tangent now. So before we stop recording, let's bring this full circle. Is there anything else you want to share about your experiences of using martial arts in the real world in unusual situations?
I guess this is a bit self-indulgent, but I'll say it anyway. One time I was helping a friend I was walking home after leaving a club, and someone was on the street corner, obviously not feeling well and drunk too much. And I went to go help them, and I realised he was a friend of mine. I knew that I've known him since school. So I was trying to help him up, and I guess another friend of his, or someone he knew, didn't know who I was, and decided that I was doing something dubious. I don't know what. I was picking the guy up off the floor, and he shoved me. I was like, "What are you doing to my mate, you?" And started swearing at Jeff, and I'm like, "I'm just trying to help him up." Like, genuinely confused about like how you misinterpret this. Anyway, so him and about 5 of his friends just start pushing me, and then like as he's doing this, I'm like, just don't. I just want to help. And anyway, as this is happening, one of his friends from the side just throws a punch, like a sucker punch, and hits me in the jaw.
Ew.
And I just ignore him. Because I'm used to taking hits. Because of sparring and situations like this.
I agree. Like, I definitely shouldn't. Like, I almost don't flinch in situations where it would be fully justified, and I probably should. I almost worry that when a genuine threat does arise, I'm not really going to be bothered.
Well, I think it was a combination of being used to being hit and also I was drunk. So it was just one of them where I ignored it. And I was just focused on this dude in front of me. And all the cheering and jeering, the group of friends that were there, died down. I did notice that. And I did notice this guy's face go from, "Oh yeah, what are you going to do?" to, "Here, what?" Like, genuine confusion. Just got punched and you just didn't bother. Then the guy to the side throws another one. So I look at him and said, "Don't do that again." Pointing at the other guy who's in front of me. And he just goes, like, now he looks like,
It's a little Terminator, the way you said that.
A little bit, yeah. Because obviously, the situation I'm in is my friend is on the floor, passed out, right? And I want to help him. And these are obviously his friends. I don't want to hurt him. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, I do. I get it. I'm curious, like, how your friends react to if anyone you knew who, like, you knew socially saw any of this stuff happen. Because obviously I was there for the first incident we talked about, but I am a martial artist, so I understand the context of what's going on. Have you ever, like, had to have a self-defense moment and you've got your friends with you and they just go, "What the fuck was that all about?"
Yeah, actually. So, before I introduced you, I did kickboxing for a while. And this is before I was 18. I actually did it I was actually quite good, not to toot my own horn. But the instructor wanted to take me for matches where I would earn money. So, how would I have gone cage match? It was back when UFC was like starting to, like, mixed martial arts was starting to become a thing, like on TV. And he wanted me to do some matches. And I was like, "Oh, let's do this." Yeah. I needed my parents' consent. They didn't want me to do it.
Oh no.
Yeah, it could have been a very different lifestyle. But the situation was, I'd gone to this gym. I won't call it out because it's got some reputation.
Can you tell me and I'll beep it? Oh, I don't know it. I'm going to have to Google it.
Yeah, it's a local place. At this bar, it's a Halloween, and I'll be honest, I'm feeling flirty, feeling a bit single man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And chatting to this girl that I've known on and off for years, and as far as I'm aware, she's single. She tells me she's single. Then a boyfriend rocks up.
Ooh.
And starts getting shovey, a bit pushy, and I'm just like, mate, she told me she's single, so as far as I'm concerned, she is.
This is a you problem.
That's a you problem. And she said, yeah, I broke up with you days ago. It's like, well,
oh, it's
anyway.
Worse.
So this is like a bar that I frequent. It's not around anymore, but I used to frequent it. And the bar owner I know was like, take it outside. I was like, okay. And so we did. Anyway, so I'm about to beat this guy to take away from Sunday because jiu-jitsu is different from mixed martial arts. I was ready to just have this guy. I was quite young at the time. My mindset's changed.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so before we throw down, one of his friends that are there sort of like as backup to be intimidating. So this guy just stops and points at me and goes, hang on a second. Is your name Kick? And I go, yeah. He says, do you go to gym? I said, I do, yeah. And then he leans over to the guy that I'm about to fight and goes, don't bother, it's not worth it.
Oh, okay.
So I recognise this guy. He's a new guy at the gym. Like, he's been going there a couple of weeks.
But he'd seen you.
He'd seen me, and he spars with us. And so he knew who I was, because I was going there 2-3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
Because it wasn't just kickboxing, they also had gym equipment there.
Yeah.
And afterwards, he's like, I'm really sorry, I didn't know who you were and all that.
Oh, that's such a beast moment, though. It's like the goat in the house.
Yeah, basically. I was just like, to this day, that's like the third moment. I'm like, life's not going to get any better than this.
I have been told that people like talk about me before a fight. Like they see that they're in my division and they get a bit worried. I have had people drop out of my division once they know that they're going to fight me, which like, it's a big ego feeder, but I've never really seen it happen. I just get like, I hear whispers and I'm like, is that true? Is that really how that went down? Or are you just trying to like fluff my ego a bit?
Without fighting, so.
No, like, but I would never go up to them and like try and intimidate someone in that way because I don't feel like it's necessary. And also, imagine if you lost the fight, it would be a hell of a moment. So I never do that.
Relations of like MMA fighters and boxing fighters like square up, getting really like shitty with the other person, and then losing.
Exactly. I would never want that. But like if someone literally while someone was trying to kick off with me like in the real world and then someone was like, no bro, don't, you don't understand what you're getting into, I would lose my mind with joy.
Yeah, that would be. I still remember the look on the guy's face when he was like, are you such? And I was like, yes. I just wouldn't hide him and like, yeah, just don't. He walked back into the pub and obviously his friend just thought, okay, I guess we're not doing this.
The thing that makes this plausible is you didn't end with, and then they all clapped and he bought me a pint.
No. Well, that's the thing, is like, it is one of the situations where, unfortunately, like, you know, is he making this up? Is he fluffing himself up? Like, you get that a lot in martial arts.
Like, you're staying anonymous, though, so, like, there's no reason.
It's hard to explain, because martial arts is one of those things, and any sport, really, where if you can big yourself up all you want, but then if it happens, if you can't back it up, you know, it's, you know, I'm the hardest guy in town. Like, are you really? Punch. You know. No,
exactly. I have a bunch of like masters and instructors on my Facebook and everything and other social media, obviously. And one of them recently got into like a bar fight. Like he was defending someone else. Like it wasn't his fight, from what I gather. And I won't name him, but like I feel like people might know who I'm talking about if they see this. But he like goes to a bunch of metal gigs and stuff, and he was like at the pub around a gig night or whatever, and he started like defending people, and the comments were full of his non-martial artist friends going like, oh, I was so worried about you, and then I remembered you're a martial arts expert and actually you're fine. And apparently he like got a little bit injured, but only like super minor, and it was like 1v5 if I'm remembering this right. So, you know, like, dude beasted. He's like high ranking. He's kind of like, he's not old, he's like middle-aged maybe, but like people wouldn't necessarily, no, like could be your dad. And like,
what are you on about?
shut up, no you're not. And but yeah,
That's right. And in my bio,
savage. But no, so like basically he doesn't brag about what beast he is, and then when it actually came down to it, everyone was like, whoa, my god, that's so scary. Like the 5 tenets of Taekwondo, I don't know if jiu-jitsu or kickboxing have stuff like this, but like the 5 tenets of Taekwondo are courtesy, integrity, perseverance, self-control, and indomitable spirit. And I feel like the courtesy one gets left out a lot sometimes, in like, you don't have to act like you're not good at something, but it's the rubbing it in people's faces and like, ooh, woo, look at me, I'm hard. And I just feel like there's such a disconnect there between people who like don't train when you go out into the real world. They just assume that you would be bragging about it all the time, when actually it's the ones who are quiet and sort of humble, and like it's like the cliche in a like violent drama thing where it's always the quiet ones who just like come out and beast. So
yeah, like it's duality, where someone that works really hard at martial arts and works on themselves, you know, you can take pride if you work on something hard, like if you work on an animation or a game or something you make, you've got every right to be proud of it. And I get why people that work out and work on themselves can be proud of it, but like boasting is different. And it's like you said, you mentioned the plausibility of the story I mentioned, and like this is back when, God, I wasn't even in Manchester area at the time. It was a local town. So it was a fairly small town. Everyone knew everyone, kind of. It was just one of those situations where, at the time, I was working out every day. Not so much the case anymore, but with that, like, being proud of something and boastful is 2 different things. You can take pride quietly.
Yeah, and if someone, like, brags too much, you kind of just assume they're not actually as good as they say, because how could they possibly be?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I feel like we've had a good chat here. This has been very enjoyable. So since you're staying anonymous, Mr. Guestman Kick, is there anything you want to promote anyway?
Yeah, there's this new channel coming out called Deborah's Dough, which I really think you should check out.
Thank you. So yeah, I feel like we're coming up to an hour now. This has been really fun. Thank you very much for coming. Maybe we'll see you again in the future if anyone wants to hear any more from you. And yeah, have a good day.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Subscribe. See you next time.